the words of Peter, right, to the Christians at the time scattered all over the world, he said, "Do not be surprised by persecution," right? Why did he say that? Because it surprises us. That's just a normal reaction. Any kind of hate surprises us because you expect better from your fellow human being, right? So I would say that people must be ready, must be prepared.
You hear stories of so many people that are persecuted in one way or another. And, not saying it's a case for everybody, but for a large portion, I feel like a lot of them have a deeper passion for Jesus, a greater love for Jesus than even people in the West do. Sometimes I feel like in the West, we almost take Jesus for granted in a certain sense. Would you say it's an accurate statement? Like, do you see some of these people that are going through the persecuted times end up having a more deeply rooted relationship and trust and love in Jesus than some of us in the West possibly do?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right, Zach. Look, persecution sifts your faith, it tests your faith. It really pushes you to decide how much are you willing to sacrifice or to pay to follow Jesus Christ, to hold on to Him. And so persecution, in a way, is healthy, right?
Yeah.
I
It
mean, it
is.
sounds strange for me to say that, but in a way, it is healthy for our faith. It refines it, it makes it sharper. We only have to read the New Testament to see that, right?
Mhm.
And the example you mentioned of the Apostle Paul, his faith was strong because of what he went through, and he didn't let it pull him down. And I'm not saying Christians should pray, for the Lord to send persecution. He knows how to refine His church. We don't need to tell him how to do it.
Right.
Um, yeah, but I really think the caution for us who are comfortable is that we don't let our material comforts or whatever comforts we enjoy lull us into a false sense of security
Mhm.
or even stifle our faith, right? So I believe that anyone, as I think First Timothy says, anyone who wants to follow Jesus Christ wholeheartedly will endure persecution. I think the kind of persecution you see for, let's say, me and you who sit in a place that is safe is really spiritual attacks. So if you are engaged in praying for the Great Commission to be fulfilled, for the persecuted church to be refreshed and strengthened, in other words, you are praying for the mission of Jesus Christ to be achieved, you will encounter resistance from the enemy, Satan.
Right.
And he will try to shut you down. He will send sickness. He will send discouragement. He will bring obstacles in your path. And as a Christian, you have to be discerning enough to say, this is not just life happening. Actually, this is the enemy attacking me so that I stop praying. I stop engaging in the mission of Jesus. And it's an invisible type of oppression.
Mhm.
Okay, and therefore I just think that the main if a Christian is not experiencing any kind of spiritual attack, then maybe they're not praying enough. Maybe they're not burdened enough, right, for the mission of Christ.
So I've been referring to a few times, Matthew 24. That's when it says towards the end times, and obviously that's the tribulation discussion, all those different aspects. But that a lot of people are going to turn away from the faith, meaning that there's a lot of Christians that claim to be Christians that they're going to start having to go through persecution, and they're not going to embrace it. They're going to deny the faith. And I just look at the West at large, and I think we look at places like Africa we just talked about. We look at Middle East. We look at Asian countries, those different aspects. They are going to be prepared for those times when they come. They have already dealt with it. Do you feel like the West at large, which has the greatest blessing in the world of truly religious freedom, has taken it so for granted that if Jesus were to come back right now, that many of us, if we were still on earth and had to go through the persecution aspect, that we're not ready for that level of persecution for our faith?
Well, persecution is shocking, Zach, for anyone.
Yeah.
Really, it strikes you at the very place that matters, which is your identity. Because if you've never experienced it, when it happens, you say to yourself, I can't believe these people hate me only because I believe in Jesus Christ. Uh, and so but it is something that I believe will come. Uh, and actually, one of the things we do as we do research through the World Watch Research Unit, we also track. trends in countries like the U.S., other sort of developing countries, or first world countries, as whatever name you want to call them, but developed countries, we track the trends, and so what you see, we call it, and so the kind of push to water down our faith in Christ, um, we call it secularism. The push for secularism or secular intolerance is actually the words we use, and and Christians have to be alert to this. But Christians, the strategy we adopt is, yes, we have recourse to legal methods because the rule of law is strong in such countries, and that's great.
Right.
But I think the best strategy we can adopt as Christians is, first of all, in our families, we really focus on discipling one another about the entire New Testament. We let's go to those passages that talk about persecution and we say, Lord, this is for us too. This is not a theory or something that's far away in another country. This is for us
Amen.
too. So learn those passages, learn the scriptures as we disciple one another in our families. The second thing I would say is to say, Lord, give us discernment and wisdom to understand the times we are living in, so that if we ever have to endure persecution, we will not be surprised. I mean, the words of Peter, right, to the Christians at the time scattered all over the world, he said, do not be surprised by persecution, right? Why did he say that? Because it surprises us. That's just a normal reaction. Any kind of hate surprises us because you expect better from your fellow human being, right? So I would say that people must be ready, must be prepared. And I believe, Zach, and I'll end with this, I believe learning from the persecuted church is so important. How do you endure persecution? What do you think as you go through it? What do you do when you have moments of discouragement, right? How do you explain to your children what is happening to you? Because it must be puzzling and confusing. How do you deal with trauma? All of these are relevant questions that if there was a way for Christians, largely in the West, to sit face to face with persecuted Christians and ask these questions, or have them come and speak if it's safe and possible, it would really, I think, strengthen the faith of the church everywhere.
If this conversation blessed you today, please hit the like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps YouTube push this message to more people who need to hear it. If you're listening on audio, a 5-star review is a huge help. Share this episode with a friend or family member who needs encouragement and let me know your thoughts in the comments. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.